As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than
listen to everybody, but you believe all proof.
Believe the facts.
This video is proof.
Hands down.
In a stunning courtroom appearance that left onlookers buzzing, Sean Diddy Combs, once a titan of the music and entertainment world, cut a shocking figure as he faced a laundry list of fresh allegations. The man who once commanded global stages and red carpets now shuffled into a wood-paneled New York courtroom, looking nearly unrecognizable. Reports described his appearance as bloated and unkempt, with his tan prison-issued jumpsuit hanging loosely around his frame and a scruffy gray beard framing a face that seemed to carry the weight of the world. Gone was the polished, magnetic image of the Bad Boy Records mastermind. Instead, before the court stood a man visibly weathered by months of incarceration, legal battles, and public scrutiny.
Today, just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
The scene unfolded to a packed gallery. Family members, including his mother Janice and children, sat quietly in support, their expressions a mix of concern and resilience. As Diddy entered the room, he greeted them with a faint smile and blew a two-handed kiss, a rare moment of warmth in an otherwise tense proceeding. But it wasn't long before the gravity of the situation took center stage. The hearing was to address the latest allegations against him, which painted a damning picture of a man accused of wielding power and influence in deeply troubling ways. While Diddy has vehemently denied all accusations, this latest chapter in his legal saga was set to further entangle the already complex web of allegations.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
The courtroom was abuzz with murmurs as details of the new claims began to emerge. According to court documents, the accusations now extend beyond personal relationships to include claims of coercion and exploitation within his professional sphere. Prosecutors allege that employees under Diddy's command were subjected to extreme conditions, including working long hours under an atmosphere of intimidation. The accusations even suggested that some were pressured into participating in actions far beyond the scope of their professional duties. As the charges were read aloud, a palpable tension filled the room, with Diddy standing motionless, his expression inscrutable.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
The investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information to come forward. Adding fuel to the fire was the controversy surrounding a viral surveillance video that surfaced earlier this year. The footage, dated back to 2016, showed what appeared to be a heated altercation between Diddy and his then-partner, Cassie Ventura, in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel. In the video, Diddy is seen chasing after Cassie, grabbing her and reportedly engaging in aggressive physical interactions. The video was widely circulated online, drawing public outrage and reigniting debates about power dynamics in high-profile relationships. While the footage itself was deeply disturbing, the courtroom drama took a sharp turn when Diddy's legal team challenged its authenticity, sparking a media frenzy. His lawyers claimed the video had been tampered with, arguing that the footage had been digitally altered to present events in a misleading sequence and to exaggerate the speed and intensity of the altercation. They also alleged that the original version of the surveillance tape had been destroyed, leaving only the edited clip as evidence. This is not an accurate representation of what transpired, Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, told reporters shortly after the hearing. We have reason to believe this footage has been manipulated for sensationalism, and we intend to prove that in court. The accusations against the video's integrity were immediately met with backlash. A spokesperson for the network that originally aired the footage categorically denied the claim, stating that the video had been verified and was presented exactly as received. There is no evidence to suggest any alteration, the spokesperson said. We stand by the integrity of our reporting and the authenticity of the material. Meanwhile, Cassie's legal team dismissed Diddy's assertions as desperate attempts to discredit damning evidence. It's not surprising that Mr. Combs would try to exclude this video from the trial, her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, said in a statement. But the truth cannot be edited, and the video speaks for itself.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
For courtroom observers, it was a surreal spectacle. On one side sat Diddy, a man once revered for his entrepreneurial genius and cultural influence, now reduced to defending his character against a tidal wave of accusations. On the other side was a growing chorus of voices calling for accountability, each allegation painting an increasingly grim portrait of the mogul's private life. And at the center of it all was the question of the video's role in the upcoming trial. Could it be admitted as evidence? Would it sway the jury? These questions loomed heavily over the proceedings, leaving onlookers and legal experts alike speculating about what might come next.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
Despite the mounting legal battles, Diddy's courtroom demeanor remained composed. At one point, he was seen leaning over to whisper to his attorneys, shaking his head in apparent frustration. When asked by the judge if he understood the charges against him, he responded with a firm, "Yes, I do, sir." But for all his outward calm, those close to the situation described a man under immense pressure. Sources within Diddy's camp revealed that the mogul had been struggling to adapt to life behind bars.
Some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a marshal's inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week.
And yet, even as he battles allegations that could result in decades behind bars, Diddy has managed to maintain a semblance of the bravado that made him a cultural icon. During the hearing, he occasionally glanced toward the gallery, offering reassuring nods to his family. It was a gesture that seemed to say, "I've got this," even as the walls appeared to be closing in around him. For his supporters, it was a reminder of the resilience that had propelled him to the top of the music industry. For his critics, it was yet another example of the hubris they believe has led to his downfall. As the hearing drew to a close, the judge announced that jury selection for Diddy's trial would begin in early May, with opening statements scheduled for later that month. The announcement marked the beginning of what promises to be one of the most closely watched trials in recent memory. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed to capture reactions from both sides. Prosecutors' legal team expressed confidence that
those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
But as the legal drama unfolds, the public's fascination with the case shows no signs of waning. Social media platforms have been flooded with commentary, memes, and debates about the allegations. Some have rallied behind Cassie and the other accusers, praising their courage in coming forward. Others have questioned the timing and motives behind the claims, suggesting that Diddy is being unfairly targeted because of his wealth and influence. The polarized reactions underscore the broader cultural conversations about
this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in the jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
In a world where celebrity scandals often dominate headlines, the saga of Sean Diddy Combs stands out, not just for its salacious details, but for the questions it raises about the intersection of fame and responsibility. As the trial date approaches, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. With each new development, the stakes grow higher, and the spotlight on Diddy burns brighter. The tension surrounding Diddy's legal troubles only deepened as more accusations began to pile up, each one more shocking than the last. While the courtroom was still abuzz with debates over the authenticity of the controversial surveillance footage, another layer of allegations emerged, painting a troubling picture of the mogul's professional empire. This wasn't just about personal relationships anymore. The claims began to reach into the very foundation of his business operations, suggesting
it's a question of that. But when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
The new allegations focused on claims of exploitation within Diddy's professional environment. According to court documents, employees under his leadership allegedly endured extreme working conditions, long hours, little rest, and a constant atmosphere of intimidation, painting a grim picture of life within the walls of his empire. Prosecutors argued that these conditions weren't isolated incidents, but rather part of a larger pattern designed to maintain control and silence. One former employee, whose identity was kept anonymous for security reasons, described the environment as a high-stakes pressure cooker where fear was the currency. Adding fuel to the fire were accusations that some employees were coerced into actions far outside the bounds of their job descriptions. These claims included being forced to facilitate arrangements that left many uncomfortable, all under the looming threat of professional and personal repercussions. While the specifics
I believe that it opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, but certainly I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
As these allegations began to surface, a former associate of Diddy came forward anonymously to share their perspective. They described their time working under the mogul as both inspiring and deeply unsettling. There was no denying his genius, they admitted, but there was also no denying the fear. You didn't want to make a mistake around him, not because it was a bad look, but because you didn't know how he'd react. It was like walking on eggshells every single day. The associate hinted that the workplace culture was built around Diddy's larger-than-life persona, where his approval was everything, but earning it often came at a cost. With the courtroom battles heating up, Diddy's legal team continued to push back on every front. The defense repeatedly argued that the accusations were exaggerated, if not outright fabricated. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, claimed that Diddy was being targeted because of his success and influence. "This is a man who has built an empire," Agnifilo stated. "People are taking advantage of the moment to rewrite history."
Filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
The public opinion was already spiraling out of control, and the media was having a field day. Headlines screamed about the latest revelations, social media was flooded with debates, and the court of public opinion seemed to be reaching its own verdict long before the trial could even begin. Hashtags related to the case trended for days, with users divided between those who stood by Diddy and those who condemned him. Some saw the allegations as part of a broader cultural reckoning, while others
She walked away, got no money. Got nothing. Over. And Jay-Z celebrated that, the fact that... We should say, and it was filed by the lawyer who has filed a slew of lawsuits.
The controversy surrounding the surveillance footage only added to the chaos. While Diddy's team maintained that the video was altered, critics questioned why the mogul hadn't addressed the incident more directly. His apology, issued shortly after the footage went viral, struck some as sincere but left others questioning its timing and intent. "I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I was disgusted then. I'm disgusted now," Diddy had said in a video statement. But for many, the apology raised more questions than it answered. If he was admitting fault for the incident, what did that mean for the broader allegations? Cassie Ventura's legal team, led by Douglas Wigdor, wasn't holding back. They viewed the video as a key piece of evidence, one that underscored a pattern of behavior they believed would be central to the trial. "The video speaks for itself," Wigdor stated. "It's a disturbing reminder of the power dynamics at play and the courage it takes for victims to come forward." He dismissed the defense's claims of tampering as a desperate attempt to avoid accountability. This isn't about editing or sequencing, Wigdor continued. This is about the truth. As tensions escalated, the courtroom drama began to intersect with the broader cultural conversations taking place outside its walls. The case became a lightning rod for debates about power, privilege, and accountability in the entertainment industry. Advocates for workplace reform seized on the allegations.
It could be a disagreement regarding defense strategy. It could be a conflict. It could be a health issue. It really could be anything. And the paperwork doesn't identify it, nor should it. And the fact that Mark Agnifilo is still on the case and the other counsel of record leads me to believe that the judge is going to rubber stamp this motion and grant it.
Behind the scenes, the legal teams on both sides were gearing up for what promised to be a fiercely contested trial. Prosecutors hinted that they had more evidence to present, including testimonies from individuals who had yet to come forward publicly. Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team was reportedly preparing to call on a roster of character witnesses, including former employees willing to testify to his generosity and leadership. Agnifilo stated in a recent interview that Diddy was a man who had given back to his community time and time again and was not the monster people were trying to make him out to be. But even as the legal battle intensified, the personal toll of the case was becoming increasingly evident. Sources close to Diddy described him as deeply shaken by the allegations and the relentless media scrutiny. He was trying to stay strong for his family, but this was taking a huge toll on him. One source...
Obviously, there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe Agnifilo, maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented.
Meanwhile, Cassie's camp remained resolute. For her, this wasn't just about seeking justice for herself, but about shining a light on the broader issues at play. A source close to her stated, "This is bigger than one person. It's about accountability and making sure that no one else has to go through what she went through." Cassie herself has largely stayed out of the public eye since the case began, focusing instead on her personal well-being and her family. But her silence hasn't diminished her presence in the case. If anything, it has amplified the weight of her accusations. As the trial date approached, the stakes couldn't have been higher. For Diddy, the outcome would determine not just his legal future, but his legacy. For Cassie and the other accusers, it was a chance to finally have their voices heard. And for the public, it was a moment of reckoning, one that would force a...
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because, look, sometimes you can argue that the activity never happened, right? You know, it wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large on.
The courtroom battles may have been confined to a single venue, but their impact was being felt far and wide. From boardrooms to social media feeds, the case was sparking conversations that extended beyond the particulars of the allegations. It was a story that touched on themes of power, privilege, and accountability, issues that resonated deeply in an era where the lines between public and private life were increasingly blurred. As the trial of Sean Diddy Combs unfolds, the questions surrounding his actions and the authenticity of the evidence grow more complex. Do you believe the surveillance footage was altered, or is it a genuine reflection of the events? How do you think the allegations of workplace exploitation will impact the trial's outcome? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this developing story. Until next time, stay tuned.